Okay, you fans of popular culture of the 20th and 21st century, I'm going to take you to where George Noory broadcasts from when he's here in Los Angeles, in Sherman Oaks, California, right here at the Premier Radio Network building. So let me walk over there. I'm in this back parking lot, and I'm near the corner of Sepulveda Boulevard and Ventura Boulevard, and I'm gonna walk over there to show you fans of that fabulous show that I've been listening to since the classic shows of 1995, 96, and 97. Now in 1997, Art Bell had 15 million listeners per night, and he was the #1 talk show host at that time, the #1 radio show. And this is the baby that Ramona and Art Bell gave birth to in 1988. And let me see if I can walk through this parking lot. They have a sign on the side that signifies this is where. And if you're like me, and when you hear him saying Sherman Oaks, I'm in Sherman Oaks, it drives me nuts, because when you hear that, you go, well, where you're trying to picture, well, here you go, there it is. Let me get on that sidewalk on public property. Okay, this is a Saturday morning, July 1st, and here it is. There's the crest, and they also broadcast the Steve Harvey show here. But here you go, the Premier Radio Network building. There's the plaque for the Steve Harvey show right there, if you're a fan. Okay, I was gonna do a little more recording, but there's too much activity now. But let's walk over there to the corner and get a shot. And I just want to say, God bless America, and happy birthday to the United States. This July 4th weekend of 2023. Okay, this is also the stomping grounds, the former stomping grounds of the late great James Dean, who left us at 24 years, 8 months, and 22 days in 1955. And let's go back to the truck. Now, Art Bell, he bought a radio station in Las Vegas in 1988, and then he moved to Pahrump in a mobile home, and he set up his broadcasting studio there. And then they said that he did politics on his show until 1995, when the Oklahoma City bombing happened. And that's when he decided to change his format, because he didn't want to get blamed, he said, for being one of the radio talk show hosts that might have been inciting anti-American activity. So now, the reason why, my theory is, the reason why Art Bell did so well in formatting it to the paranormal is because a lot of people don't realize that he was a medic in Vietnam. He was around the dead, the dying, and the severely injured, and that must have made him more sensitive to what happened before this life and what comes after. And now, the reason why those shows were so classic in the late 90s is because their format back then was 2 hours of talking to the guests, and then 2 hours of on screen calls. And that, like today, I can't believe it. It's like they screen the calls, and then they let the same people in every night. Now, when you listen to the somewhere in time on Saturday night, you can see what I mean, because you had a cross section of Americans that would call. You'd have geniuses, you'd have intellects, you'd have kooks, you'd have working class, you'd have security guards working graveyard shift, you'd have a cross spectrum of different opinions. And then Art Bell he wouldn't ask obvious questions, and some very intelligent, erudite questions from the callers at that time. Now they started screening calls in 2006, and I wish they'd change that format and stop screening people. So here you go, you fans all over the world. Now, another thing too about finding out where certain things take place, certain things happen, so you can visualize it in your mind. I was so into the show in 98, well actually 96, 97, 98, 99, that I finally said, you know what, I'm going to go to Pahrump. I'm going to find out what it's like over there, because he kept on talking about Ramona's fantastic artichoke garden that she created out of that desert soil. And if I would have known the call letters to his radio station, I probably could have found his mobile home. But when I went over there, I asked questions all over. Nobody even knew what I was talking about, who I was talking about, and I really wanted to catch a gander of Ramona's artichoke garden. And I even said, you know what, this would be a cool place to live, way before everybody took over there buying up all the properties, when it was relatively inexpensive. But one thing I didn't like about that 39, I think 63 miles vertical going all the way up to Pahrump, and I said, this is going to wear out one's engine if you're going to come into Las Vegas to work or whatever. So that's who I am as a person. I want to find out, so I can, when I'm listening to when I was listening to Art Bell, I knew where he was at. After having gone to Pahrump, I could visualize it. It makes it more personal, the experience. Just like now, all over the world, you fans. Now I'm doing it for one more reason. I want to show everybody where George Noory is, so when those wildfires start happening in the United States in the fall, and those floods and those catastrophes, and he does that mass collective meditation, prayer, chanting, whatever, to stop the horrible events. And he says it gradually lessens, but I got a theory and I want to see if it works. For all the millions that listen to George Noory, when he does that collective mindset, and let's all visualize this spot, the premier radio network building here in Sherman Oaks, and let's ride the AM radio waves to those spots where people are suffering, and let's see if we can't make said catastrophe stopped abruptly. Let's create a miracle. Because just like when you do a seance, or you do any type of, just like when you pray, you're visualizing what you're praying for. It's like what they say, the magic of the will. So remember this spot when George Noory in the fall, when those fires, floods, deluges, catastrophes, tornadoes, hurricanes, visualize this spot where George Noory is at, and let's see if we can end all that suffering with all our collective mindset, riding the AM radio waves to wherever we can make a difference and help people. Okay, so Art, wherever you're at, and Ramona, good night, sweet princess, and thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.